Hey guys, Buttkicker coming at you here with another Queen's Blade limit break video, and today's video is probably a bit overdue, and that is one of the first things actually that you'll be tasked with doing, and you're going to be kind of walked through anyway, you're told to do it, if you will, anyways, and that is building your team, or as I should say, your first team. Not to say that you're not going to need multiple teams, because eventually the game does break you out to where you will need multiple teams, but there's a lot of ins and outs and a lot of tips and tricks to get more than one team without wasting resources, but that's for another video. Today is just centering around what you're going to want to do first, and that's building your first team of warriors. And how do you want to do that? What's some recommendations? Well, I got my account brought up here, and under the Warriors tab, you're going to see it's going to default to the Warriors that you have. The best advice that you will get, and you'll get that from anybody, all you got to do is type into World Chat what tunes I should use. It's always going to be the same advice. You're going to want to build one team. A team consists of 5 members, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in various formations, out of various attributes. And the most common advice you will also get is to not focus on one specific attribute to build your team. Even though it may seem like you got a lot of warriors coming in for, let's say, your physical attribute, you're gonna see a lot of tunes pop up from physical, mind, and skill. You do not want to build an entire team to start off out of one attribute. And why is that? Well, for the simple fucking reason that in order to level up your warriors, you have to sacrifice other warriors. And when you first start the game, you're going to end up probably sacrificing elite warriors, or they call them beautiful warriors, or warriors that some may tell you not to sacrifice, but you're going to have to in order to get their star levels up to the recommended level. Which brings me to point number 2, and what is the recommended level? In my personal opinion, when you start off the game, you are going to want to take your warriors to 9 stars. The reason I say 9 stars is because most of the warriors you're going to level up already start off at 5 stars. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for those that can't count. Then it takes you to a 1 purple star, 2 purple star, 3 purple star, and 4 purple star. That's a 9-star hero. The max level of stars technically in this game is 11. But we're talking about a massive upgrade and material sink to get your tunes to that particular area. Which brings me to tie in all of my recommendations here. When you're building your first team, you're going to want to build it with one character from each of the primary attributes, which is going to be magical, physical, and skill. The reason I'm trying to exclude the break and the dual break warriors is because they don't drop tunes, or I'm sorry, I'm used to saying tunes. They don't drop warriors as often from the various sources that you can obtain warriors, namely when you summon using even your elite scrolls here, or you use shards, or you use the oracle to summon warriors. They're primarily going to drop by RNG nature the first 3, magical, physical, and skill. So the recommendation is to choose one warrior from magical, physical, and skill, or monitor your account. Use some fucking common sense. I find that physical drops a lot. So when I first started building my team, I actually built it with Miriam here and these 2 here, and Tomei, and then I had a skill, the healer here. Okay, not saying that you can't use warriors from the same attribute. I'm just trying to make you aware that the recommendation is, because of the amount of warriors you have to sacrifice to get your warrior up to where you want to be, which is 9-star, which is 4 purple, you can only sacrifice at least right away up to this 9-star, you can only sacrifice warriors of the same attribute. That's primarily why anybody will tell you that you need to pick one from each of these, see where you are with break and duel, but don't count on it, and then pick the rest of them from the same attribute. And I tend to go with physical because of Miriam and this one right here, Lord of Thunder. Now that brings me to the specific warriors that are highly recommended by not just me, but by the community when I was coming up, and that is going to be, let's start with magical, and that is Tomei. Why Tomei? Because her skill set, she hits like a truck, she can buff her damage, and she gets extra crit damage. And because her warrior, even though she's considered a rarer pull when it comes to summoning, you get her off the bat in a couple of places. One, in your first loot over here. I don't think that this is worth $49, honestly, but if you have the money, go ahead and purchase it. Also, when you start on a new server, which generally, if I were you, I would start on a new server anyways, you're going to get daily an 8-day login reward that's going to reward you with a physical warrior, which is Ari here, and they're also going to give you another opportunity to pick up Tomei. Okay. You need multiple copies of the tunes to level them up once you start getting into the higher tiers. Again, I want to cover leveling up and infusing tunes, best way to do it efficiently, and why in another video, because there's just too much to cover in one video. Here, just wanted to get it out quickly that you're going to want to build a team of 5, specifically one from each of these attributes if you can, and the recommendations again are Tomei for magical, physical, Miriam, hands down. She is a hard hitter, hard smacker, and if you're going to invest materials and leveling them up, she's one you're going to want to go with as well. For skill, I went with a low-level tune that can't really be ranked up too far, and that is this lady here because she's a healer. She's one of the only healers that provides passive heals every turn, and she has served me well even though she's considered a kind of a weak warrior. I'm going to just to show you what I mean. She's at the bottom of the total, but she can only be leveled up so far, and that's what makes her not a high recommendation. So under skill, these two here are considered rare pulls. If you're going to use anyone from the skill tree, it's largely going to depend on what you can pull. Typically, you're going to pull these bottom 3. If you have a choice, go with the healer. That's my recommendation because she's going to help you through some low-level PvP and a lot of content that is going to get you higher in the rankings until you can pull someone like the Exiled Adventurer Lena. She's really good, provokes, damage resist. She reduces her own damage and hits really hard. My personal recommendation is General Thunder. You know, she's got a lot of rage buildup to do massive attacks, and she's fairly good at removing all debuffs that hit her. So that's just my recommendation. Under the break, hands down, I'm going to say Charming Pirate. She's very rare to get, but she is one of the best counter-attackers in the game, but one of the most common under break, because of how rare the pirate is Swift Tracer. There's going to be a lot of opportunities to pick her up in various places like the market for various in-game currencies. So Swift Tracer for break, Charming Pirate is who you want to hold out for. Under duel, I don't have a huge duel following, but based on what I've seen, Half Demon. She hits really, really hard single target burst damage, and she's quite good. I just haven't built out any dual attributes. So when you first start up the game, take those recommendations to heart. but you're going to end up building what you have, and you're going to end up getting a lot of mind and physical shards from what I've seen. So there's no harm in building up some of these tunes to use in the campaign while you get used to pulling in the various places that you can obtain shards to help you get some of the more high ranking ones. Now the only caveat here is the specialty warriors that say event on them in your index. Those can only be obtained through special summoning events, and they generally require use of spending your gems and or real money. I got another video that's going to give you some tips and tricks that I want to get out as soon as possible as well. Generally, the events are what you see over here, these arrivals, where you have to pull by spending special books or gems, spending real money to pull. How do I get so many? That's for another video, because I got some tips and tricks that very few of us realize to obtain those. But if you have any questions, guys, leave the questions in the comments, or if you just have any feedback for me, please provide it. As always, if you can, subscribe to the channel if you like Queen's Blade content or any of the other content that I have coming up regarding other games. Leave it a like at the very least. Leave a comment as to how you feel about it. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.